There is something unsettling about late-night trains. The silence feels different. The stations feel incomplete, and the passengers. Well, not every passenger is easy to explain. This story begins on an ordinary winter night, a nearly empty platform, dim yellow lights, cold air moving without sound. The digital clock above the station entrance displayed a time most people try to avoid noticing. Not too late, not too early. That strange hour where the world feels paused. The last train of the night was due, a routine service. Nothing unusual. Nothing memorable. Or at least, that's what the records would later claim. Only a handful of people stood scattered across the platform. A man with a newspaper. A woman staring at her phone. Someone pacing slowly near the edge. And one particular figure sitting alone on a metal bench. Completely still. No luggage. No movement. No visible expression. At first glance, nothing seems strange, but prolonged observation created discomfort because while everyone else occasionally shifted, the seated figure did not move at all. Not once. The train arrived with its usual metallic echo. Doors opened. Passengers stepped in. Passengers stepped out. The routine exchange of a system that never sleeps. Yet something subtle felt wrong. The man with the newspaper boarded. The woman with the phone boarded. The pacing footsteps disappeared into a carriage, but the silent figure remained seated. Unbothered. Unresponsive. As though the train did not concern him. Seconds passed. Then minutes. Finally, the train doors closed. The engine hummed. The last train departed. The platform fell silent. Empty. Except for that single unmoving passenger. Station staff would later insist the platform had been cleared. CCTV footage would tell a different story. According to the recordings, the bench had not held one figure, but two silhouettes sitting side by side, perfectly aligned, perfectly still. Facing forward, neither acknowledged by anyone else, neither reacting to the train, and the most disturbing detail, neither casting a shadow consistent with the lighting. Moments after the train left the frame, the video captured something impossible. One of the seated figures slowly stood, turned toward the other, and then vanished. Not walked away, not faded, simply ceased to exist. The remaining figure stayed seated, unmoving, as though nothing had happened. The next morning, the bench was empty, but something had been left behind. A single train ticket, old paper stock, edges worn, ink slightly faded. The destination field was blank, the passenger name unreadable. Only one line remained perfectly clear, valid for one journey only. No date, no time, no issuing station. The ticket should not have existed, yet it did. Days passed. The incident became an internal curiosity. Filed, ignored, forgotten, until another anomaly surfaced. Passengers on late-night routes began reporting something unusual. An extra rider always silent and always seated. Always present in reflections, but rarely seen directly. Some described a man, others a vague shape, but all accounts shared one chilling similarity. Whenever the train approached the final stop, the figure would no longer be inside the carriage. Yet, no one ever saw it leave. No doors opened. No movement detected, just absence. One particular conductor decided to verify the claims. Night shift. Final route, empty. Carriage. Every seat inspected. Nothing unusual, until the train entered a long tunnel. The lights flickered briefly. Not failure, just a subtle tremor. But when illumination stabilized, someone was sitting at the far end of the compartment, a passenger, perfectly still. Facing forward, no sound of entry, no footsteps. The conductor froze, because seconds earlier, that seat had been empty. The figure's posture was unnatural. Rigid, silent, head slightly tilted, as if listening to something no one else could hear. The conductor slowly approached, each step echoing louder than expected. And then the figure turned, smoothly, without hesitation, revealing a face that made movement impossible. It was identical. Every feature mirrored perfectly. The conductor was staring at himself. Same eyes, same expression. But the duplicate's gaze carried something deeply wrong. An absence of recognition, an absence of humanity. And then the voice came. Soft, distorted, as though emerging from somewhere inside the metal walls. This seat was never empty. The lights flickered again. Darkness swallowed the carriage for less than a second. When visibility returned, the seat was vacant, completely empty. No passenger, no trace, only silence. The conductor never spoke about the incident. Officially, nothing had occurred. But from that night onward, he refused to sit during any journey. Because sometimes, while passing through tunnels, he would notice something deeply unsettling in the window reflection. A figure seated behind him, perfectly still, waiting, watching, occupying a seat that, according to everyone else, did not exist. And on certain nights, just before the last station, a faint whisper could be heard beneath the sound of the tracks. Calm, patient, unavoidable. Final. Stop.